For a time, some of the dioceses sought to prevent the entire report from ever seeing the light of day.
Earlier this year, after it was revealed that over 300 priests had molested over 1,000 children in the Pennsylvania area, a demand to oust predatory Catholic priests reached a fever pitch. However, the process to bring these priests to justice has been stonewalled at every turn.
There are specific examples where when the abuse occurred, the priests would go, the bishops would go and lie to parishioners, lie to law enforcement, lie to the public, but then document all of the abuse in secret archives that they would share oftentimes with the Vatican. There are specific examples where the Vatican knew of this abuse and they were involved in the cover-up.
The cases are numerous, but one in particular has set its sights on the Vatican itself. Filed in federal court in San Francisco, the Vatican is charged with violating customary international human rights law, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Convention on the Rights of the Child.
Kathy McDermott Stonebreaker says she was sexually abused by Father Stephen Keesley at St. Joseph's in Pinole when she was a girl in the early 1970s. She recalls being taken into a confession booth.
He would shut the door and push his body up against me and take his pants down.
Attorney Jeff Anderson says it's one of several complaints against Keesley. He provided church documents that show the Diocese of Oakland sent a letter to Pope John Paul II in 1981 asking that Keesley be removed from the church. But Anderson says nothing was done for 6 years under Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, who at the time was overseeing abuse cases. Ratzinger later became Pope Benedict. Anderson says that's one example of how the Vatican was and is at the root of widespread sexual abuse of children. He's filed a lawsuit against the Catholic Church.
This suit alleges that the Pope, the Vatican, and every predecessor to him are engaged in a large-scale, systemic violation of the human rights of children.
Jim Keenan from St. Paul, Minnesota is also named in the suit, who says he was abused by a priest, then offered a settlement by the diocese there. The lawsuit is seeking all records the Vatican has about abusive clergy.
They need to come clean. They know what they do, they know what they've done, and they know what they plan to do. And I know in my heart their plan is to not do the right thing. And if we were talking about any other industry, that industry would be shut down.
And now the spotlight has been set on the Buffalo Diocese scandal.
The hundreds of pages Siobhan O'Connor uncovered included personnel files and memos. They revealed that for years, Bishop Malone allowed priests accused of sexual assault, such as statutory rape and groping, to stay on the job. The cases in the dossier Bishop Malone inherited when he arrived in 2012 stretched back decades. As they worked on the list, the bishop and his lawyers decided they would not reveal the names of accused priests still in ministry.
And the Washington Post reports Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring announced Wednesday his office is running an ongoing investigation into the state's 2 Catholic dioceses and whether there has been any sexual abuse and cover-up. Herring's remarks come a day after D.C.'s top prosecutor made a similar announcement. Meanwhile, Pope Francis urges business as usual. Speaking to bishops around the world, Francis called on church members to defend the mother against the great accuser, an attempt in the middle of a hurricane of scandals to continue covering up a century of documented child abuse. John Bowne reporting.